Books make you hope. Books make you dream. Books make you laugh. Books make you scream. This is the Books That Make You show, discussing books with authors and experts, unraveling the inner pages of all the books that help make us who we are. Hosted by Desiree Duffy.
Hello, I'm Desiree Duffy, and I'm your host for Books That Make You. And today we're talking about books that make you want to be a kid again. Oh, childhood. Remember how glorious that felt? Children's books, they imprint on us at an early age. Think about the books that you read as a child. I bet you still fondly recall Little Golden Books, Dr. Seuss, and so many others. The lessons learned in these books, they stay with us throughout our lifetime. So, don't you think it's important for our children to read books with positive messages, ones that celebrate diversity and spark imaginations? We have a wonderful guest who creates award-winning books and games for children. They have amazing themes that you simply must share with the children in your life. Lisa Blecker. She is with us here today, and her books include The Good in Me from A to Z by Dottie, Blessed is the Spot, and Sweet Neighbors Come in All Colors. She and her husband both graduated from Carnegie Mellon University, and they studied art and illustration, and wow, are they ever creative. They run a family-friendly multimedia games and publishing company called Studio 9 Inc. Lisa, hello, welcome to the show.
Hi, Desiree. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here being interviewed with you. Thank you.
Oh, we're going to have some fun, Lisa. You just hold on tight, okay? Because we're going to go so many different directions, because I got to tell you, I love, love, love the positive messages and themes in your books. So let's start with that. Why is it important to you to create content that celebrates humanity and diversity and kindness? Talk about that a little bit.
Sure. Thank you. I worked with kids. I started actually teaching kids when I was a youth, and I worked inside and outside of the public school system. I taught privately. I taught for the city, et cetera, et cetera. And I just could see how important it was for children to grow up with positive messages about themselves, and to learn about virtues, and to learn about how to appreciate diversity and how to speak up and include people. And so those are the kinds of things that I started thinking about even when I was teaching, and I would try to infuse into my lesson plans as a teacher. And at the time when I was teaching, especially in the public school system, there really weren't a lot of materials to support that. I started using Linda Popov's Family Virtues Guide and Educator's Virtues Guide, which was so inspiring to me. And but the kids, some of the kids would, especially in middle school, would be like, well, nobody else teaches this, and they didn't really understand why we needed it. And so, but now it's much more prevalent and actually incorporated into the school system. And I think that more people are appreciating and understanding how important it is to actually start the children in their youngest years, so that they're not questioning, why are we learning this now, to practice kindness and respect from the earliest, most tender ages. And also when I became a Baha'i and, as a young adult, I started to think more about, instilling virtues and oneness and unity and diversity, these kinds of principles into young children and youth, etc.
Well, that makes me feel so happy because the fact that these types of books and learning materials are being infused now into the school system, because it seems like in a lot of ways, and I'm going to do the old, well, back in my day, but back in my day, yeah, I remember having wonderful teachers who would stand up and read in front of the class. And I remember from kindergarten on having all of these wonderful stories. And it seems that over time, the focus was less on really teaching for context and for a true deep understanding of the material, and more about teaching so that students could pass a test. Teaching them to memorize things, teaching them to just be receptors of a bunch of knowledge, but if they weren't putting that knowledge into any kind of context, it didn't impact them. And so when you talk about a student in middle school, for example, who questions why you're teaching something, my first reaction is, why is a student questioning anything that the teacher is bringing to them? Something must have happened early in that child's years for them to think that that was even okay, and to not be accepting of reading books and understanding the messages like you talked about.
Yeah, I think that it might not have been stressed as something important, as you were saying, like I think the focus was a lot on test taking, and I was an art teacher actually, so I think it was also like, wait, aren't you an art teacher? But now again, I think it's very common that any curriculum area or subject area infuses character development training into their curriculum areas, which I think is fantastic. Probably started more and more maybe around 2000, I think, with the positive psychology movement.
I love that. And art, music, all of the creative side of us, so to speak, it does inspire other aspects of our brains. It's a known thing that music helps inspire mathematical thinking, for example. And as you know, a book needs to be illustrated. So again, it goes back to a holistic approach in our education so that students don't look at each class or each area of study as if it's an individual isolated silo, because the stories that they hear were probably inspired by myths that you can read about in history, and those myths inspired our entertainment and so many other things. It all really works together, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally. I love that idea of integrating things and seeing them more holistically. And I also try to think about other things that I can infuse into my books, such as music or, asking questions to create discussions or activity pages to get kids kind of thinking about actions that they can actually take from whatever they're learning in the books.
And let me just say that I love all of your books. You're welcome. Let's talk a little bit more specifically. Sweet Neighbors, for example. I really love that message. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Sure. So Sweet Neighbors Come in All Colors was inspired by a friend of mine named Dick Grover, who wrote actually a song called Good Neighbors Come in All Colors. And he wrote it back in the 60s, like the mid to late 60s. And he was inspired. He was driving and he was inspired by a bumper sticker that said Good Neighbors Come in All Colors. And he said it was on the the back of a Volkswagen of a black family, and he saw this bumper sticker, and it was like, everybody should have this bumper sticker. Good neighbors come in all colors. And so he was a songwriter, and he loved to make sing-along songs. And so on his way to where he was going to meet up with his family, he actually created a song around the slogan on the bumper sticker called Good Neighbors Come in All Colors. And it really was about unity and diversity and gender equality. And these are all very pivotal principles in the Baha'i teachings. And so when I met him actually at the school where he was going to create that song all those years ago, I met him, maybe in the early 2000, like 2003. And I saw him sing that song, and I was so inspired that I was thinking, what if I take his song and do a mashup with, there's some Baha'i writings that compare people and nations to the different parts of fruits and branches and leaves of one tree. And I started thinking about, sweet neighbors come in all colors, and how are we compared to the different fruits and our sweetness and our different colors and our varieties, and how nobody's more important than another. We all have contributions, that we're all beautiful in our own ways. And so that was really what had inspired these new lyrics that I put to his wonderful song. And he was so excited and gave me permission to use it, which, was such a blessing to me. And then I at first we were going to make it into a puppet show, or a puppet video. And then, I eventually ended up adapting it into a picture book format and pitched it that way. And so that's how it happened.
There you go. Inspiration can come from any place, literally any place. A bumper sticker. That's amazing. Tell me now, okay, how do you think parents should introduce their children to books? What's a good way to get your children reading? What's a good time to get your children reading? And what are some books besides your own that you would recommend for parents to introduce their children to?
I mean, I think, when I give a baby gift, a lot of times I like to give picture books. I'm a fan of picture books from day one, to read to your children at the youngest possible age, to have conversations with them as soon as possible. I tend to gravitate towards books that have meaningful messages, and those are the kinds of books that I've, at least so far, been interested in writing. And yeah, I can't say like a specific, other books, because there are just so many, and there's so many beautiful ones. But yeah, I really believe in the power of books with meaningful messages and having those conversations to go with them. And then modeling the behaviors, too, with your children, of the things that, they learn and that you're learning along with them from the picture books goes a long way.
Yeah, children a lot of times, they might not be responding to the words, but like you said, even little babies, as soon as they can start to focus, they can see the pictures and it starts to make sense. And instilling within them the love for books and the fact that books should be part of their lives from an early age means that once they're older, they're going to gravitate toward books. It's going to be something that's familiar to them. Now tell me, you've got some other books as well, and you've won many, many awards. Tell me a little bit more about The Good in Me from A to Z by Dottie, and Blessed is the Spot, and some of the awards that your books have won as well.
Sure. So The Good in Me from A to Z is a book about a little rhino who sings her way through the alphabet and celebrating all of the good qualities that she's practicing. And it's almost like a little bit of a visual dictionary, the way that she sings it, because you see each virtue that she says, and she says specifically how she's practicing it, but then you also see a picture that goes with it that reinforces the concept. So, for example, and you can sing it or say it, but it goes to the tune of the ABC song if you want to sing it. And it's active when I jump about, beautiful inside and out, courageous when I face a fear, determined to succeed this year, encouraging my friend to try, friendly when I'm saying hi. And then it just goes all the way to the end. Now I've gone the whole way through. Won't you share the good in you? And then there's a companion activity book that goes with it, and young children can start to think about how they want to practice the good qualities in them. So for each...
I love it. I love it. Hang on. I need to clap. That's amazing.
Thank you. So yeah, it's sweet because, it gives them the opportunity to celebrate those things that are really the most important, which is, how they can grow their character. And so that The Good in Me from A to Z won a Mom's Choice Award and a independent or a Benjamin Franklin Award, which is Independent Book Publishers Award.
Yes, I love our friends over at the IBPA, the Independent Book Publishers Association. They're fabulous. They do so much for authors from small press and indie authors. So
yeah,
congratulations on those.
Thank you. So those were both silver awards, and then for Blessed is the Spot received, that's a first prayer book, and that one received a Gold Mom's Choice Award, and it comes with a little DVD, animated DVD, and it has the song that goes with it too. So it's a very universal Baha'i prayer from Baha'u'llah, and I can read the words because it's just lovely. It really honors every place where God is praised, and it goes and for this one, the melody was composed by a woman named Elizabeth Hahn, and there's children that sing to it, and you can also find it on YouTube. And so it goes, blessed is the spot and the house and the place and the city and the heart and the mountain, and the refuge, and the cave, and the valley, and the land, and the sea, and the island, and the meadow, where mention of God hath been made, and his praise glorified. And so I love that prayer.
Yay! Got to clap for you again.
Thank you. And it flies through all the different places that you go through in the animation and in the book. You just go from transitions from one place to another.
Well, that is marvelous. And you do games as well. Tell us a little bit about that and working with your husband and your company, Studio 9 Inc.
Sure. And also, just to backtrack, I wanted to just add one more thing about why it's great to share books with children while they're young. And I also love that you can get different perspectives from different voices that you might not otherwise get. And so I think that's another really important thing, contribution that authors make and books make. So, and then back to the games. Yes, my husband and I, also have our independent studio called Studio 9 Inc. And one of the things that we do is make games. My husband is a game maker, and that was his trade for a while. Where he started out designing and animating and working on illustrating for a game company. And it's always been a passion of his. I think he also likes how it incorporates math and problem solving and art and storytelling. And so so we've decided to, or we just did create this company. And so a lot of the games are actually his game designs. And then sometimes I help him. And then we did collaborate with my husband and I and another friend of ours named Julie Burns Walker on a game called Charms, a Game of Insight. So that was the first game design credit or co-game design credit that I've received, and that one actually won some awards too, which is really sweet. From let's see, it was a Mensa competitor, and it won a Parents' Choice recommended and a silver award. I can't remember from Serious Play.
Nice.
So that was really sweet. And, but it's a wonderful game where it really gets you going with conversations. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a jumpstart to a consultation. So if you have a question, it could be a burning question that you have. It could be something really, like a dilemma that you have or a challenge, and you just need to work it out and find some answers. Or you could just be having fun, and it could be very tongue-in-cheek. It just depends on the group that you're playing with. And you can really get some amazing insights out of it. And so we play it all the time, either amongst ourselves or with family. You can even play it alone and get some pretty amazing insights with it. And it's pretty easy to learn how to play. And that you can find at charms.com. There's a little tutorial to learn how to play it. And it's also, all the books and games are very widely available online or on studio9inc.com is our website.
Fantastic. And these are all board games or card games, right? You're not doing video games, or are you?
Well, Aaron started in video games, but our company creates mostly card games. Charms is a board game, and he also does like role-playing books and choose your own adventure books.
Oh, I love those. Those really get imaginative, don't they?
They really do. He loves that. And he has his own gaming group that meets every week, and he takes them on adventures, and they have a ball.
Oh, what fun. What fun. So tell me what you guys are working on next, or what are you working on next? Is there another book coming out soon?
Yes. Well, both of us are steady work. We've been working with Brilliant Star Magazine, which is a Baha'i-inspired publication for everybody. It's an international award-winning magazine for children. And that's just always amazing. And, we've been doing that for like 15, 20 years. And then I am working on a companion activity book for Sweet Neighbors Come in All Colors, again, to help children think about how they can be a sweet neighbor in their community and practice sharing their good qualities and thinking about creating unity and diversity and, oneness, those kinds of principles around them. So, yeah.
And tell us again, where can people find you? Are you on social media? Where can they find your website? Tell us all the places, if people want to find your books, your games, etc., that they can go.
Sure. Our company, and you can find lots of our work at studio9inc.com. Also, if there's a specific, one of our books or games that you want to find, they're all very widely available. The games you can find at hobby game stores across the country, all over online. You just can Google it and it'll come up at different retailers and distributors. And the books are also very widely available with lots of bookstores on Amazon, et cetera, et cetera. So, especially online, I would say for the books. I don't know how, but you could get them in your local bookstore because they're widely distributed.
Fantastic. Well, Lisa, you are amazing. You have so much going on. Thank you for joining us today. It's been such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much, Desiree. It's been wonderful being with you and sharing, and I appreciate this very much.
You bet. I love it. I love it. And once again, everyone, my name is Desiree Duffy, and thank you for joining us today on Books That Make You. And you can find out more about us on booksthatmakeyou.com. And you can also follow us. We're on Facebook and Instagram. Until next time, my friends, please enjoy all of the books that make you who you are.
The executive producer for Books That Make You is Desiree Duffy. Produced and sound mastered by Phil Giangrande. Engineering by Dave Nabox. Social media and promotion by Bree Sweeter. For more, visit booksthatmakeyou.com.